We're live. Cheers, my guy. We on.
Are we on?
God damn. I feel like, ah,
Shamalama.
that tastes like my 20s.
That's gross. Why'd you do that?
Fireball. Jesus. Why did we do that, Drew?
Yeah.
What do you buy
You're right.
fireball shots for? Oof. God damn. That tastes like regret.
Yeah. It does.
Ooh, boy. All right. We're back doing it. We're back in. Ah, I can't believe my uncle called me randomly. Just sitting in Nashville.
That's the best time to call your nephew, randomly.
I love my uncle. He tripped me out with that one.
I get random calls like
Damn,
every
I
2
can't even
weeks
get right.
from my uncle in Mexico Beach that wants me to come down there and open up a restaurant because it's a great place because there's nothing there. And I said, yeah, there's nothing there because the hurricane wiped it out. So I'm not going to be moving down there to do that very
Sure.
much.
I stink you smelly much. Boom, ba-da-dum, da-da-dum. Hey,
Sounds
look,
like
I got a notification that we're live
Oh,
on my phone. Look at that.
are we? Are we going live? Are we doing this
Crazy.
thing? Are you people watching?
I have no
Yes,
idea.
I
Are they on?
Somebody
all
should
know?
comment.
Are we there
Actually,
yet?
I'm gonna go ahead and put the song of the day in the joint. Was it Command V?
Yep.
Look
That
at
is
you learning
paste.
hotkeys.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Thanks to our sound engineer, Jeremy Mulder.
Jeremy teaches everybody a lot of stuff.
He does. Don't you ever fold no cord wrong in front of him. He'll teach you up real nice, though. Make sure you don't.
All right. We're in there. 7:30.
Cool.
What's up? What's happening, world? This is a podcast called Friends, Facts, and Fiction. I'm Justin Hammonds. I'm looking at my boy Drew Shownut
What up?
and my boy Grant Bramlett.
Hello.
Out here in the crazy tracksuit vibes.
Mhm.
As always, I'm kind of chilling today. I'm out here chilling.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're
Too
back.
much effort. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see.
We're-
Got to
we're-
walk upstairs and such. You know,
It's a lot going on. It's
I
too
get it.
much.
I
It's
get
too
it.
much.
It's only
Actually-
82 degrees, and I've been wearing this all day, but that's fine.
I literally forgot until we just started filming. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't put my tracksuit top on and my tracksuit bottom on.
So you're tracksuit shorting.
Oh,
Not shorty, but shorting.
Look at my guy with the hot facts.
You know.
But yeah, we're back again. History of Psychology, season 3, episode 4, and we're gonna be dropping some hot facts on that. And for I guess the last time, we go live every Monday at 7:30 on Facebook, Twitch, Paracast, and YouTube.
Periscope.
Periscope.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a
Um,
Paracast out there as well.
Oh look, your mom's on.
Oh, hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
But yeah, so this is probably the last time that I mentioned that. So just be aware. And we're here. We're in it. We're about that life.
Doing the thing.
Doing the thing and the stuff. So last week I kind of left it at a cliffhanger
Oh, yeah.
about
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm legitimately excited
Yeah.
about this.
about the quicksand sinkhole situation I was in. So the year, man, like circa 2005,
So you were 14.
15.
15. Okay.
14 or 15.
Yeah.
Thank you for just throwing my age out there, by the way.
You are 31. 30.
Anyway, so
I'm 23, so don't mind the grays.
Okay, switch it around. But this one unfortunate evening, I was on my bicycle and I was leaving my cousin's house, and there's a levee in my hometown, Elba, Alabama, and they were constructing a road, like a highway, and they were trying to go over the levee, whatever. So it was a dirt path at that point. They were like literally like making the road, basically. And I'm riding my bike along where I'm taking this shortcut. It's got a new road. It's a shorter cut to my house.
Yeah.
It's dirt road. It rained earlier that day, but I thought nothing of it. It's like dusk. like it's about to get dark, and I'm just cruising. I go up the hill because the road's built on levee, so you up a hill and then down a hill.
Yeah.
So I'm riding, boom, 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 and I get to the top of this hill, and like my bike just like blink, like stops in the mud, and I'm like, that's different. So
I
I
like
get,
how blink is just a stop.
blink,
too.
blink, blink, just blink. And so my my tire gets stuck. So I get off my bike naturally because I can't just like stay on the bike when it's stuck. So I get off the bike and first step. Oh, I forgot to mention, fresh white Air Max 95s. I mean,
course.
like, God, they were so. I got them like 4 days prior. Sexy white Air Max 95s. And if you're a fan of the Air Max 95s, you know how special that shoe is. But anyway, so I get off the bike real quick, and I'm on a dirt road, so I'm already kind of timid about even getting off my bike with my joints on. And as soon as my foot hits the dirt, it goes in like past the sole. And I'm like, that's interesting. So then like I go to like check the bike, so I lean down and I realize my foot is now under the dirt. So no bullshit, bro. I kind of like get the bike out, and as I'm getting the bike out, I'm putting more pressure to the ground. Obviously,
Right. So your
picking
shoe
it up.
is
And now I realize I'm both of my shin deep in fucking sand and dirt, like sinkhole, fucking quicksand, wherever the fuck it is. So literally at this point, I'm like, oh shit, bro, like I'm about to die.
This is a real
Like,
problem.
bro. It's a country road. There's no like I could scream and there's nobody.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean? Like
right.
there's
and you
nobody
can
around.
scream, and people might be like, "Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. It's
drive
just,
by,
it's just some
you know?
crazy motherfucker in the woods because
Right.
it's the country. So literally, so to speed things up, I'm panicking, and I'm like trying to like grab anything to pull myself out. So I'm gripping dirt. And I'm trying to pull myself back out, but I'm at the depth of like before I like found something to actually grip onto and pull myself out. I was almost up to my hip. Like
Holy shit.
in dirt. I was crying, bro. I thought I was gonna die. Like I literally thought I was about to die. I'm crying, I'm screaming, I lost my voice and shit. And I finally like pull enough to get myself out, like grabbing rocks and shit, like on this fucking and I pull myself out, like primal shit, bro. Like
Yeah.
I'm like literally like war screaming. Like
Oh my god.
my 15-year-old self is like literally thinking about all the things I could accomplish in life, and like I ain't even get to drive yet. I ain't even got my license yet, bro. Like what the fuck? Like all this shit's going through my head, and so I get myself out, and like for a good 30 seconds after I got myself out, I was adrenaline like a motherfucker, and I grabbed my bike, and I'm like, fuck, goddamn, I'm good, and then I snap back to reality. I'm like, my Air Maxes. Fuck. Air Max is gone.
Oh, you're
Oh,
barefoot now.
they gone. Yeah, I'm in socks.
that's
bro.
a first
Gone.
world problem by now."
Yeah, Air Max is gone. I'm like,
yeah.
fuck,
You know?
my Air Maxes. And like for the first 5 seconds, I'm like, I wanted those fucking Air Max. I need those Air Maxes. And then like 20 seconds after that, I was like, I gotta explain to my mom
Right.
that I just lost my new Air Maxes. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it was like.
And she's not gonna believe
Good.
that.
No, not gonna believe me at all, bro.
Yeah.
But luckily, I had fucking mud stained shorts and like dirt all on my dirt on my legs.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it's like, look, like shit went down. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I just lost a
What's-
$95 pair of shoes.
What's really weird about that whole
wow.
situation? Like you mentioned,
Shit was crazy,
You
bro.
mentioned this at the last, the ass end of the last episode, and I didn't think about it until you started talking about it. My dad used to take me raccoon hunting, like until I was like
Of course,
12,
of course,
and
you went
figured out
raccoon hunting as a child.
how inhumane it actually is. But look it up. Anyway, so we're walking through Jones Mill Pond, and if you're in Northport, Alabama, you know what I'm talking about. So
Only
we're
in
walking,
Northport, Alabama,
right?
do you
We're
know what the
walking
fuck he's
through
talking
this area, and it is essentially just a swamp. But it is, if you're in Tuscaloosa, you know that the swamps in Tuscaloosa aren't swamps in Louisiana; they're just marshes, and getting closer to the mountains, so it kind of peters off a little bit. This one didn't. We let our dogs go, as you do, to go tree the coon, and blah 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 blah. Doggies barking. Let's go find them. Yeah, we go trekking out through the woods. Mind you, I have and quarterback the next day a football game. And this is 2:00 in the morning.
That's
Before
fun.
we hear anything from dogs barking. Dogs are barking. Let's go that way. And that's how you do it. You go that
Yeah,
way for
exactly.
the dogs. And we go that way. Thank you, Pac. We go that way for the dogs.
Yeah.
And we come back. We get the dogs. We come back. We get the raccoon. We come back. We're walking across like this one, like 100 like yard area. It's like a football field area of marsh that we're walking through. And I literally one step sink up to my hips. And I've got those big like
That's fun.
ladies call them what, galoshes? Rain boots.
Sure.
That are actually
galoshes.
galoshes, but like redneck, like rain boots. These motherfuckers, I got these from like Lowe's or Walmart.
Sure.
And they're but they just right off, and that's the sound it makes.
Yeah.
And
Suck
my
off your
pants
feet.
went with them.
That's fun.
So literally, in a place that I had just walked through, where I saw 2 water moccasins, and the beaver just beat the shit out of both of our dogs because they thought they were treeing a coon, and they were treeing a beaver, which is in the water, and slapped both of those motherfuckers in the face.
the beavers
and
are
they ran
ferocious,
off.
my guys.
So we got the dogs, and we start walking through, and I just go up to here in just mud. And,
Yeah, same
and
marshland.
just like, and start freaking out, just like you said. And my
Yeah,
dad,
bro, straight up,
yeah.
I'm about to die. This is
Oh yeah,
over.
this is
Like,
it.
Yeah, bro.
I'm gonna die in mud. Awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Bro.
Way to go.
And I was by myself though. Like I was solo. That shit was way more
Well,
terrifying.
yeah.
At least you
Yeah.
had somebody like, "Hey, bro, come help me, dog."
Well, I probably sounded.
Come get me.
I
bro.
probably sounded like a cat in heat at that point, like kind of a deal. You know what I mean? Like just trying to make whatever sound I can make to attract some kind of attention.
Right. Yeah,
My
yeah.
dad comes running like through the woods and like just snatches my arms up and like pulls me out, and it goes. The same way it did with the boots
Right,
when he
right.
pulls me out, and I almost died there.
Yeah.
But that was
time.
my contingency.
Hey man, fist bump for that.
you know.
Near death experiences. I'm sure collectively we have way more than we want to
Yeah.
fucking tell.
Oh yeah, we won't.
Yeah,
Yeah, we won't
a
do that.
lot.
I don't have a story like that.
The sinkhole type
No.
situation,
Mm-mm.
quicksand type
I don't
shit.
think I've ever really.
Hey, you know,
Surprisingly, no.
I mean, I'm sure
Honestly,
you have a lot
good
more
on you for that.
near. Yeah, yeah. I mean, other half of his life, he was a city boy. You gotta remember, we was country boys our whole life.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's city boy.
Yeah. After a certain point, I moved to the city of Birmingham, Alabama, and then quotations for audio, and then would just kind of like weekend as a country boy. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
He did country
Did you
boy
have like
vacation.
the same like connotation to the weekend to rap, like or R&B? Like it's just super depressing every time you listen to it.
the weekend?
Like the weekend, you would go to
Hey, bro,
Mississippi.
the weekend's my spirit animal, bro.
No, he's amazing, but that's some dark shit.
Ah, I mean, yeah, the weekend.
Anyway, like I said, what was it last week? I nil digress.
Yes, very good, very good.
Just shut up,
your,
Drew.
your mom said if you do, don't tell the stories
Okay.
because she's listening.
Oh
my god. Anyway, we're gonna slide into the song of the day, which is on me this week, and a homie of mine. Shouts out to Sam Woods, man, a young UFC fighter. He's on the rise. Applejack's boy on Instagram. That's my G. He sent me this dope ass song I've never heard before today, and I fucking love it, man. It's a song by Armani White, and it's called Wonderful, and that's ONEDERFUL. So Wonderful.
Oh, nice.
It's super dope. I put it in the
Little punny.
I put it in the live cast in the comments. Y'all can click the link, and it's a dope track.
Give her a listen.
It's a dope track.
Listening to it earlier, it made me think about like a house party during the day. Maybe they were like grilling out or something, and then it got wild for no
Yeah.
reason. And then like you got like afternoon sun streaming in on it.
Yeah.
It's got this bright cheerfulness, but it's definitely a fucking group party.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I mean?
for sure.
Is that like in the summertime that like 8 p.m. moment where like it's about to get dark, but you still got daytime energy?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you still in daytime vibe, but it's like about to get dark and it's like.
And your friends aren't making excuses of why they need to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
it's
early
like-
enough
yeah,
where
yeah.
you can still get as drunk
Yeah.
as you want.
Yeah.
It's not too late where you feel bad, but you're midnight drunk at 9 p.m. That's what I'm saying. It's a vibe. It's a party track, to be honest. It's fucking dope. But yeah, shouts out to Marnie White and shouts out to my homie Sam Woods. But yeah, man, we're gonna slide into these hot facts.
Yes,
about
sir.
psychology, the history of psychology, episode 4. Yes.
Yeah, so last week we kind of left off at the end of what I was calling the Dark Ages, because a lot of it actually was during the Dark Ages.
Right.
You know what I
Facts. Big fact.
mean? And kind of go into when it actually starts to become an actual science, right? So, while in the 18th and 19th century, philosophers were sitting in their studies and reasoning about mental phenomena, a number of physicians and physicists were taking a very different route toward the goal of psychological knowledge. Emulating scientists like Harvey, Newton, and Priestley, they were using their hands and instruments to gather information.
I mean, I think you mean Presley, like Elvis Presley.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
That's the king. Come on now, get your shit together. Fuck, man.
And they were looking specifically about the physical causes of neural and mental processes. So these pioneers of physicalist psychology are the ancestors of today's cognitive neuroscientists. Their outlook led to the present-day specification of the molecular transactions in the neurons that are the components of mental phenomena.
Look at that.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Does anybody need me to slow down on some of them big words?
Nah, you good? I'm picking up what you're putting out. I'm smelling what you're stepping in, player.
Phenomena.
So, but some physicalists were quasi-scientists at best, and some only pseudoscientists. Yet even the latter are part of the story, since their theories of certain mental phenomena, though later disproved, led others to seek and discover valid explanations of those phenomena. Like
Phenomena.
this fucking
Phenomena.
guy. This fucking guy here.
This fucking guy here.
So
this
I'm gonna
fucking
say
guy I'm walking
this
here.
fucking
This
guy
fucking
over
guy
here.
Technically was a doctor, but I'm definitely gonna go Dr. Franz Anton Mesmer here.
Okay, so the is air quotes for audio purposes.
You like
yeah.
it? You like it?
I guess for future reference.
So that's also an on-air like prompting for me and Justin now that you only knew. So now we'll just
Now
start
we
doing-
know.
Yeah, now we know
We just this happened.
in house.
So doctor.
No,
Franz
not that slow.
Anton.
Yeah, like a laser.
Doctor
Come on,
Franz Anton Mesmer.
Mesmer, okay? And
Yeah.
everybody remember this name. He's hilarious. So he tried to, and I seriously will emphasize try, take a scientific approach, right? So in the 1770s, Germans and Brits were still more so on the philosophy boat. Mesmer, a physician in Vienna, had the bright idea of applying magnets to patients on the theory that the mind and body can be healed of disorders of the body's magnetic force.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So if those
So that was some big thinking.
those magnetic force fields are realigned, you cured, right? That's the
Yeah,
whole thought.
yeah,
process.
yeah.
Which of
You
course,
mean like convulsions and fucking putting your body through shock?
basically anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
crazy.
just magnets. Okay, it's not actual electricity. It's straight up
okay.
magnets. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Which of course is pure nonsense. But it became the rage in the time in Vienna and then in Paris. And here's a pretty fantastic scene of our guy here. Okay, cue some fun music. It is 1778. We're in a dimly lit, mirror-hung Baroque salon in the Place Vendôme. A dozen elegantly dressed ladies and gentlemen sit around a large oak tub, each holding one of a number of metal rods protruding from the tub, which is filled with magnetized iron filings and chemicals. From an adjoining room comes the faint keening of music played on a glass harmonica. Exactly like that, yeah. After a while, the sound dies away. The door opens wider, and slowly and majestically, there enters an awesome figure in a flowing, full-length purple robe, carrying a scepter-like iron rod in one hand.
Tastes like a grape.
So my guy popped in with the full robe on. My dude doing the full robe vibes. Hey,
Like,
that's like Hugh
pure
Hefner
wizard
status.
status.
Like,
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
up?
yeah.
Like, Gandalf meets Hugh Hef. So I got all these people in here.
100%.
We feeling good. We partying. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm about to magnetically align this motherfucker's body real quick.
So, I'm not shitting you here. He proceeds to yell a command, and a dude passes out. Then he starts pointing the rod at other people who shudder, cry out about like tingling sensations running through their body, shriek and flail until they're carried to the chamber or chambre de crisis. So they
Chambre de
claim
crisis.
to be relieved of or even cured of such ailments as the vapors.
Oh, the
Or
vapors.
paralysis for some of them. Some of them are experiencing paralysis,
Yeah.
and they
Wow.
thought that they were
The vapors.
at least temporarily cured.
Shouts out to Biz Marquee for mentioning that in the late 80s. The Vapors. Biz Marquee. Check the song out. The Vapors.
So the best we can tell, he actually believed in his own bullshit, basing it on a passing comment by Newton that he made, that the human body is pervaded by an invisible fluid that is responsive to planetary gravitation. So Newton mentions this in some of his writings, and Mesmer took it and ran
Yeah,
full
yeah,
speed
for sure.
as far as he
Yeah.
could until he found a dark room and a purple rope.
And a purple one.
That's real. The purple robe is important. Yeah. That's the power. That's where the
Yeah.
power comes from, is the purple robe.
Apparently so.
I mean,
So-
anybody heard of Prince? I mean, come on.
leading to Mesmer's conclusion of a person's health depends on their animal gravitation being in harmony with the planets. Now, today we can assume that this is all like pretty hilarious pomp and circumstance surrounding his treatments.
I really like the.
Is a very that's a really strong environment, right? And anyone feeling these results is just an aspect of suggestion, you know, kind of like hypnosis, in a way, you know. Real quick on this guy, he was also a pretty competent amateur musician and got his hands on one of Franklin's glass harmonicas.
Oh, shit, the glass
And
harmonica.
that is actually the instrument that was playing in my fun little story. I
Yeah.
left it as harmonica
Yeah.
on purpose. One, it's a quote. And two, so we could talk about the Franklin episode that we did and how a lot of people get harmonica and armonica mixed up.
mixed up. This is true. Go
Even
back and
my,
listen to the Ben Spankin.
Even my historian guy.
Yeah, the Ben Spankin episode we did is amazing. Our first two-parter, by the way. Oh, Ben Spankin.
That's true.
You know, Ben Franklin. That's what I'm saying.
Also,
Ben Spankin because he spanked a lot.
yes, he did. Also, he and his rich ass wife, which, by the way, that's how he got into Viennese high society, is that money. They hosted Wolfgang Mozart's first opera
Holy
in
shit.
their garden,
Whoa.
in their private home's garden.
What? So this crazy motherfucker that rocks purple robes in like eyes wide shut type of parties
And magnetizes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hosted Mozart's first joint?
Yeah.
Like his first gig?
Yeah.
Like the Mozart. First
The
gig.
Mozart, yeah. Uh-huh.
I think he actually prefers that to the Mozart.
The Mozart.
Like,
What a time to be alive, bro. What a time. Well, for y'all, not for me.
I just
but-
thought that was fucking fair.
yeah, super fair.
very,
trust me.
very fair.
But that's fucking
I know.
crazy, bro.
It's fucking nuts. And also, if the connection has not been made, the term mesmerized. Huh?
Ah.
Get it?
from Mesmer.
Yeah.
From
Seriously,
Mesmer.
yeah.
'Cause his name is
Right.
What?
That's cuter than hell. I tell you what, if I knew what to tell you.
You know, when you connect some dots sometimes, it's a magical moment.
It is.
I mean, you might even get mesmerized.
This magic moment.
Full circle.
Nice.
You see that?
Mhm.
Full circle.
I liked it.
Yeah. How about it?
So
I'm here
homie's
for that. I'm here for
basically the father of hypnotism, right?
Hmm.
Obviously.
Yeah. And I wanted to make a quick note on hypnotism. The half sideshow gag, half therapeutic tool seen to be useful in habit breaking and pain relief. There's actually MRI evidence of a physiological mechanism at work as opposed to personality traits, right? You know that old thing of like people or you can't hypnotize me or that person's easily hypnotizable, all that kind of bullshit. It's not an actual personality trait, and there is something that's going on. Like it is a legitimately somewhat real thing. There's like an actual mental state you go into.
Yeah. The sunken place, if you will.
Right. So in highly hypnotizable people, top-down neural processes generated in the forebrain override bottom-up processes that take place in the sensory perception areas of the brain.
Yeah.
While in non-hypnotizables, the opposite is true. Right. So to explain, people who naturally use the top-down approach fill in the blanks to make sense of something, as opposed to absorbing the information purely with the senses. Or if you're shown a shape that doesn't mean anything in particular out of context, and you like immediately make a leap as to what that symbol could mean, you're theoretically easier to hypnotize.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, in the future of season 3, we'll get more in the top and bottom. But yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, moving on
Very
to
good.
more bullshit.
I knew you were gonna take. I actually
Wild.
Hey,
It's wild.
That's what
I
he
kept
knows
top
my
down,
cues.
bottom up in there, and I just don't
Yeah,
want to.
we're going the top and bottoms later on in
The
the
bottoms
season.
up.
If you know what that means off rip, then you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, let's move on to a little bit more caca of the brain.
caca, a caca.
Physiognomy, or the interpretation of character and mental abilities from the shape and size of facial features or cranium. So
Boy got
these,
a big ass head. He a big thinker.
yeah, you got a
type
big
shit.
nose, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, kind of a deal. You know, like
Or
you know,
Jewish.
or vice versa. You know, who knows these things?
I love you. I'm sorry. These are jokes, people. These are jokes. Anyway,
Yolks. Yes, yolks. Yes, they are yolks. Darwin actually almost missed out of his, you know, pretty important trip to the Galapagos because the captain doubted anyone with his nose could possess significant energy and determination for such a voyage.
wow.
Yeah. So like I said, your nose. So apparently your nose is funky. You ain't got the brain power to
Wow.
come on this voyage, you know?
Damn, that's real.
Yeah. And a guy who was, you know, the chief proponent of this crap is Franz Joseph Gall. Right?
Okay.
He popularized phrenology in Europe and the U.S., right?
Wow, phrenology,
Kind of enough
bro.
said there, you know?
Yeah, phrenology is a whole. Oof, that's deep.
Mhm.
Y'all looking at that shit? That is some wild
Well,
shit.
we've already talked about it.
Oh yeah, we did
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
it season 1, Blackout episodes, but also phrenology, which I mentioned in that episode. Great album by the Roots.
Very good album.
Anyways, I'm gonna keep it rocking with these hot facts.
But all that being said, he did develop a technique of dissection that showed that two halves of the brain are connected by stalks of white matter, the commissures. That the fibers of the spinal cord cross over to connect to the brain. So that crossover of the brain presents the opposite side of the body.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of a situation.
Okay.
The larger the cortex of a species, the greater is its intelligence.
Okay.
Which is all true.
Yeah,
Okay.
so homie
Yeah,
that
yeah.
developed
Yeah.
phrenology, one of the most racist ass things
Yeah.
Racist.
ever
motherfucker.
to present itself in science, did actually discover some, you know,
Right.
real shit and important shit.
No,
you know? Yeah.
he's dope, but also racist.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, mixed bag.
Yeah. I mean, it like you said, the like
Interesting.
it's all true, but that last one was kind of the thought that led to materialism, immortality, atheism by the powers that be at that time. If we have some dedicated listeners or people interested in history out there, guys, maybe they know that phrenology was super horrific, like we just said.
Exactly.
And it helps people rationalize racism, and super massively like disapproven.
A quick rundown for people that don't know. Phrenology is basically the study of the size of your skull to amass your intelligence. And they were saying that black people had smaller skulls, therefore they were less intelligent and less capable of living their lives as intelligent human beings, which is obviously bullshit. And phrenology, like, fucked up African Americans for hundreds of years, and bunch of bullshit. But anyway,
Well,
I nil digress.
Yeah, you nil digress.
I nil digress.
Thank you. Well, so he would look at things like if an area didn't look the way it was like supported by his hypothesis, he would just simply move on to another area. Just to say he would just move on, and
like,
eventually
I can't find my answers here. Okay,
something
cool.
that offset the area,
Yeah,
and then voila, his theory stands.
exactly.
Because he just kept moving on and moving on and moving on
A
until he
professional
found
bullshitter.
it. It's what I was told in I think
PBS,
ninth
if you
grade,
will.
the mathematical guess and check method.
Guess and check.
Yeah, guess and check.
Guess and check.
It's not great,
Not
but
good at all.
yeah. So we'll move on. A dude named Pierre Florens was horrified by Gall's haphazard methods and set out to discover whether, there was any kind of merit to any of this shit he was talking,
Right.
He operated on the brains of many different animals to see. He just operated on, like animals and would poke different, like areas to see how it reacted and stuff like that.
Yeah. See the brain power of every animal.
Right,
basically.
but without getting into the nitty gritty, Florens' step-by-step method proved homie wrong. He kind of proved him wrong.
Homie dum dummy.
Yeah, homie dum-dums.
Yeah.
And unintentionally discovered much more about location-specific brain function in the process. In fact, a student of his went on to discover and name, after himself, of course, the Broca's area, or the center of speech in the left hemisphere.
Yeah, the Broca's area is very important.
The Broca's. Yeah.
Broke us off some, like a Kit Kat.
Broke us off some. Also, we just slid on by my PBS reference. Professional bullshitter. PBS, public broadcast.
Oh, very good.
Huh? I'm the only one with superior comedy in my head right now. Jesus
Wouldn't call it
Christ.
superior, but yeah, sure.
Yes, 2-1. Yeah, superior. Sure.
Anyway, moving on.
So all these guys and quite a few others get us into a group known as the Mechanists, which is a very apt name, right? Their whole bag was psychological research based on physical functions as opposed to invisible high-level processing that philosophy loves to ponder, right?
Public broadcast.
These mechanists discovered the difference between reflex and voluntary actions in the spinal cord. Electricity flows from the brain through the nerves for movement, found and identified nerve and brain cells, and that signals flow from and to the brain. That was a really cool day for them.
I can
Honestly, they always thought it was like a one-way thing.
Yeah,
Just, but not unidirectional, This new psychology was taking hold all over Europe, but really found a home in Germany, and of course rejects Kant's assertion that psychology could never be an experimental science.
That can't be true.
Hey. Hey.
This is great.
Nice.
I'll lob them up, and you guys smack the hell out of them.
Hey, alley-oop, man. Alley-oop.
Someone else important in this field was Johannes Mueller, who figured that there's a difference in processing for our senses, which is crazy obvious to us, but at the time we just assumed that it was all the same coming in, and then was sent down different tubes, basically, on the way to the brain.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So they seriously thought that it was just all of our
So like when you go to the bank and you like put like a check thing and it's like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I used to think it was the coolest shit as a kid. It's
Me
like,
too.
Where does it go? How did they get it? What did it just
and then
it
Chick-fil-A
disappeared.
started doing it and I was like, you can do this with food.
Yeah, and then you got money. Where did money come from? It's inside the bank. Anyway,
So he did a lot of surgical experimentation, but what seemed to clinch it was an incredibly simple experiment on himself. When he pressed his own closed eyes, the pressure created not sound, not smell, nor taste, but flashes of light.
been there, man. Damn.
Okay, so but you think about I'm
Like,
pretty sure we've all,
damn.
as humans, from every
Yeah.
moment up until that moment,
That shit crazy.
everyone's experienced that at least once, but nobody thought about it, I guess,
Mhm.
until Mueller here, when he's like, he's cutting into people's brains and animals' brains,
Mm-hmm.
and then one day he does this little numby, and then
It's like, oh shit, that was wild.
that's like a eureka moment.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Eureka's Castle, by the way.
So, a cooler way of making this conclusion was my homie, William James, who I'm going to talk about later. Fucking great sense of humor.
You love this William James?
I
guy.
love this guy.
Anyways,
Anyways,
all about this William James.
if our
guy.
brain simply
Anyway.
takes in all stimuli and then sorts it, we could splice the outer extremity of our optic nerves to our ears and that of our auditory nerves to our eyes. We should then hear lightning and see thunder.
Ooh.
His fun,
Wow.
dramatic way of saying that's impossible
Yeah.
and total
Right.
crap. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Mhm.
Psst, psst. So basically, Mueller answered one of the great questions. How do the realities of the world around us become perceptions in our minds?
Look at that. Huh? Look at that.
Weber is another that made headway in the sense of touch.
Chris Webber?
Yep, definitely.
They didn't know how to call a timeout.
He discovered that depending on the area of the body, we have a limit on determining how close two objects that touch us are, i.e., the tip of the tongue is less than a 20th of an inch, and on the cheeks, half an inch, and along the backbone, anywhere up to 2.5 inches, which is more than a 50-fold range of sensitivity. And more importantly, a dramatic indication of the relative number of nerve endings in each part of the body and what they provide us.
Mm-hmm.
Bang bang.
He also studied our capacity of sensing differences, with one with weights, and concluded the heavier the first weight, the greater the difference had to be before his subjects could perceive it, and the lighter the first weight, the greater their perceptual sensitivity is. This, plus tests with lights and sounds, led to Weber's law that we still use today.
Definitely.
It's the first statement of a quantitatively precise relationship between the physical and psychological worlds. And after, and a couple of guys named Helmholtz and Jung came up with the trichromatic theory that we see a combination of light refractions only in a limited spectrum of what we call primary colors, based on Mueller's contributions.
Interesting.
Look at that. Look at them facts.
Isn't that
them,
fun?
them hot facts.
It is fun.
Soak it up. Jesus.
Well, all of these contributions to the scientific approach to mind and perception lead us to the man named Wilhelm Wundt
Oh,
and the
Wundt.
birthday of psychology in December 1897.
You know, I like the year 97, not 18, but 97 was a good year.
Yeah. Shh. Be quiet. That's not nice. What?
Yeah, what?
And boys, let me tell you, it's as austere as it sounds. In a small room on the third floor of a shabby building in Leipzig, Germany, with a clock-like device, hanging weights, a metal stand in which a ball would fall onto the telegraph, all rigged up together. Exciting, right? right.
You made
Yeah,
it exciting. I was intrigued.
That's it. That's the history of psychology. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Oh, right. Okay.
So all of this built up to that one moment.
That's it. So
But no,
season three's
really.
Over? Oh.
But no, but no, really. Something seemingly so trivial, kind of weird, restored the study of conscious mental process to something significantly like measurable. You know, so an observer would cause the ball to drop. When they heard the sound, they would push the telegraph key, logging the exact moment of that person's perception of their reaction to it. Now, what makes this important to Weber's approach to this experiment, in one scenario, the subject is told to press the key as soon as he is clearly aware of his perception of the sound. In a second form, he is told to press the key as soon as possible when the sound occurs. So, in the first case, the instructor's focus is his attention on his own perception. In the second case, it's the sound of itself,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
This tests awareness, which takes about twice as long as a reflexive or muscular response. 0.2 of a second versus a tenth, kind of a deal. And
Right.
perhaps even more importantly, the way the subjects or observers have been trained for this experiment were actually where the psychology really kind of came up in this.
Right. So I mean, in
Um,
one case is really more so of everybody before Wundt is taking this as just as purely physical response to something and then recording it,
Mhm.
right? So like 0.2 of a second versus 1/10 of a second.
Yeah.
That is significant to figure that out,
Yeah, for
right?
sure,
I mean, hell, we use the whole 0.2 rule,
Yeah.
like when we're driving a car,
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
It takes that long for you to actually react to something.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
That's why you follow further back from the car in front of
4
you.
second
The
rule, isn't
fastest,
it?
the
Yeah.
faster you go. By the way, drivers.
By the way,
Bro, let's not even get on that shit. That's people can't drive. That's just,
well, so
But what he did
yeah.
was take like the mental state,
Mm-hmm.
really logging what the observer or the test subject was thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
and how that changes their response or their
Right.
response time, and how they felt while they're doing it. Yeah, all important stuff.
So they were trained in introspection by spending hours and hours listening to a metronome, and these are all at different speeds. So it kind of was their median on all of this.
I got you.
And logging how it made them feel. Obviously, faster making them more excited, and slower making them kind of more sleepy. Kind of more calm. For example, when they took the clangy ball telegraphed test, Grant's brainchild of a name for sure, but I digress. It reported
Clangy ball telegraph test, huh?
mhm.
That's the new
It
name.
reported that when their attention is focused on their awareness of hearing the sound, they experience a clear, though fluctuating, mental image of what they expect to hear. A minor wavering sense of strain, mild surprise when they hear the sound, and a strong motivation to press the key, obviously. In the reflexive form of the experiment, they experience a feeble mental image of the expected sound, a considerable sense of strain, strong surprise when the ball drops, and an impulse to press the key almost without consciously willing to. So this not only measures the amount of time between these two everyday occurrences in people, but identifies the mental processes that take the place in that simple act.
Right.
And this was revolutionary in the field and led to a lot, and many people, to follow his lead, known as Wundtian psychology or Wundtian psychology.
Okay. Made it sexy.
So yeah,
Wundtian.
yeah.
Wundtian.
Yeah.
Psychology.
So no, he wasn't in a perfectly obvious situation, First, there's no central theme to it, and at best, he was seen as a dualist in the sense that he didn't believe in the mind as separate from the body. He did say that the phenomena of consciousness paralleled the process of the nervous system, but he considered the form to be based on like the combinations of the actual neural events. And this approach to psychology was first only a natural science, but later in his life he considered it to be a spiritual science, for our sake, mental higher activity. He also thought that introspective of any way other than his was completely wrong.
Of course.
Like just crap.
Yeah. I'm right.
Yeah.
Even when I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I was right in the first
Yeah, like
place.
child psychology, hypnotism, suggestion. They were all the same caliber to him. And, particularly, though, scornful he was of a man named William James.
Your boy.
He
That's your
was.
boy, right?
Saying his works were literature. It's beautiful, but it's not psychology.
Yeah.
Now the good things about Wundt. He was the encyclopedist, and systematist of the field. Like, so he drew the intellectual map of the territory and defined it as a a new domain of society, or like science, the science society.
Yeah.
Like his approach was the
His approach
scientific
was
approach, you know what I mean?
approach. Yeah. He personally trained many of the people who became the leading psychologists in Germany and the U.S. during the first decades of the new science.
The new science.
Yeah, the new science. He assembled from scattered beginnings of, physiological psychology, a distinct method or methodology, if you will, for experimental psychology. So his laboratory and its methods were, kind of the model for those that were established during the next, half century or so.
Half a century.
Yeah. He had thoroughly immense authoritative textbooks, though. So in that, he have influenced most of the first two generations of American psychologists and their students, at that matter, as well. During the early part of the 20th century, the majority of American students of psychology traced most of what they knew back to Wundt. But his ideas don't still apply in today's world of psychology. Really, we moved past him by the 20s. Behaviorists, for
Roaring 20s,
example.
huh?
Yeah.
Great Gatsby.
Yeah. But behaviorists, for example, grew from an attempt to prove certain aspects of his approach as wrong.
Right.
And considered them unscientific.
Yeah, so
essentially.
Wundt would consider behaviorists, which is like a really important aspect of modern psychology, as unscientific. And that whole field of psychology grew out of an effort to prove.
Yeah, so the
him
things
wrong,
that grew were
actually.
like, child psychology, psychological testing, clinical psychology. Yeah, all that just flourished after everyone kind of moved past his
Right.
way of thinking in that. So there's a historian, Ludi T. Benjamin, sums him up pretty good, I think. In the end, Wundt's psychology and that of his contemporaries was replaced by newer approaches. Although parts of this psychological system exist in modern psychology, we continue to remember him principally for his vision in seeing the promise of a science of psychology and then taking the giant steps required in the 19th century to establish the discipline.
Right.
Nice. So open the door and then I'll build the house.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, really, like he laid the foundation for sure. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
For
that
sure.
definitely was the birth of psychology, like as a science. And just like other aspects of science, we continuously figure out that a hypothesis was wrong,
Yeah.
and then we
Yeah.
move on from it. You know what I mean?
I mean,
That's-
the pure fact comes
That
from
theory is not a law.
exactly. That's what makes science so great. They go, "Oh
Hey.
shit, we were wrong." Okay, well, we now know that.
Now we know.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is power. Who wants a body massage? G.I. Joe. Sorry, guys.
Wow, that's a reference I haven't thought about in a long time.
Yeah, right?
That's that aged us. Anyway,
All right, so I want to finish today off with a guy I really like.
are you talking about
William
old Billy
James.
James, old
Oh.
BJ?
Oh, BJ. Um,
We're gonna let that let it chill. We're gonna let
So-
it chill. That's not even
Mom always said if I keep my face like that way, it would stick that way sometimes. So
Billy James.
if it does
Billy
that.
James.
I'll start off with something he wrote to a poet friend of his. The only psyche now recognized by science is a decapitated frog whose writhings express deeper truths than your weak-minded poets ever dreamed.
Wow.
I love this guy.
This is why you like this guy, huh?
Well, okay, so he's clearly mocking the physicalist, mechanist approach to psychology while simultaneously throwing a playful jab at his poet friend. You know, he's got a great sense of humor, and it's really layered. Not a lot of people get him. I feel like, I mean, I got a lot in
Yeah.
common with this guy.
You think you're
No, but I think we would be buddies.
Reincarnate? Maybe?
I got you.
Reincarnate,
I got
maybe?
you. I got you. You'd be buddies.
Reincarnate? Psst, psst.
So
Not your buddy, pal.
Shooter McGavin? Psst.
he also wrote to his brother, who was a novelist. So this family's pretty fucking cool. that psychology is a nasty little subject that excludes everything one would want to know.
Wow. Okay.
But hilariously enough, he was the head of psychology at Harvard.
That's crazy.
On top of that, they basically created the department for him to head. Harvard said, "Oh
Say-
crap, we need psychology because everybody else is doing psychology.
We got a guy.
We got this guy.
got a guy.
Is so awesome. We're gonna create a department for him."
So
it's like
awesome
the-
or just like so uncontainable where it's like we need to put him
it's almost
somewhere.
like it's almost like to me like the creator of Facebook found this guy who's like super introverted and was just like, he may be, but psst, psst, he knows what he's doing. So we're gonna take this guy and psst, psst, put him in this position, and like he hates these people, but he just made it flourish.
Yeah.
You know, kind of a deal.
So it's the name to the product. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Psst, psst.
Well, more so like his ideas were so strong and fucking good that
Yeah.
they like that. I wouldn't say forced him to, but definitely kind of coerced him a little bit to like head a brand new department in one of the most elite schools in
Yeah.
America.
Very
It's
prestigious.
just
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And to make me even like him even more, he was very informal and unpretentious. He so basically he was the opposite of Wundt, right?
Yeah.
And he was known as a vivacious and humorous lecturer that even students would interrupt him during classes to try and get him to be serious.
Oh wow. Hey, can you take this seriously? I'm trying to learn
I'm
this.
trying to learn here.
Could you
know?
take this serious, please?
Yeah, I think for
Right.
him it was like a good chance to try out his
No.
bits.
Yeah.
So I'm working on this stand-up bit.
So
I'm
that
gonna
doesn't
practice on
sound
my
like
students for an
anybody I
hour.
know at all.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's Grant.
Jesus.
I know. I love this guy. But before him, there simply wasn't psychology in the new sense of the time in 1875 in America. Literally, all we had was phrenology and Scottish mental philosophy,
What a dark time.
which is basically associationism as a defense of religious thinking in the subject of psychology.
Mm.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Scottish mental philosophy
That's
was.
deep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of issues there, but anyway.
I know. That's all America had. So, here comes James. And he once jested, the first lecture in psychology that I ever heard was the first one I ever gave.
Right?
Right.
Wow.
Thus, he introduced
This guy,
experimental
this fucking guy.
psychology to America. And, of course, he hated to do experiments, even though
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was the dude of
Yeah, yeah.
experimental psychology in
Yeah.
America.
I feel him.
He found them tedious and boring, but he would force himself to do so in order to prove or disprove a theory. One being a very intensive experiment on memory he conducted on himself that disproved a roughly 2,000-year-old belief that memory, like a muscle, can be trained and strengthened.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hmm.
something he didn't like doing was like, all right, this is important. I'll fucking do
Yeah.
it.
I guess I'll
Mhm.
do
It was like several months of him locking himself in a room and memorizing like
Yeah.
old literature and
Yeah,
everything
that's
like
right.
that. And then a little while later, he'd come back and try and memorize it again, and it found out that it was going slower the second time around.
Interesting.
So I thought that was kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's
Also,
almost like a chef, showing someone how to do something after they've just
After
perfected
you've
it,
soaked it in,
and they
you
haven't
gotta
been
teach
doing it
somebody.
after a while, and they've
Mm-hmm.
just shown someone how to do it, and like 3 months later, you're like, I wrote this recipe, bro. I got this, and you come back in, and the
Yeah.
dude that you showed it to is just like showing
Yeah.
you how to do it.
yeah, so
Yeah.
something more intensive or involved, like memory, for example, is
Mhm.
not like riding a bike.
No,
And we
not
know
at all.
that as musicians.
Yeah,
Of
for
course.
sure, for
Of
sure.
course.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you don't do it,
Without a
if
doubt.
you don't use it, you lose it.
You really
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, unlike Wundt, he believed heavily in introspection on arriving at and sometimes testing hypotheses. He was also the first American to call attention to the work of the then obscure Viennese physician Sigmund Freud,
Oh,
Pink
Freud.
Floyd.
who we're going to cover in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Homie even explored the world of abnormal psych, attending seances, meeting with psychics, and even made a pact with a dying friend to wait outside of his room to maybe make contact with his departing soul.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So what he said about this like abnormal psych, I find myself believing that there is something in these never-ending reports of psychical phenomenon, although I haven't yet the least positive notion of that something. Theoretically, I'm no further than I was at the beginning. But
That sucks.
no, right?
That sucks.
Well, I mean,
I've done all this work, but pretty much 30 years of work has led me back to 30 years ago.
Yeah. I got this far to go back this far. So
But that's
cool.
just in like the world of psychics. and
Yeah, right,
seances and all that weird shit off to the left. He wanted to give it a try, and dig into it, see if there's any validity.
If
to
so
it.
facto bullshit. Yeah.
Kind of.
you know.
I feel like that's kind of what he was saying too.
Is it real or not?
Yeah,
Fuck it, I give it a go.
So, to finish off some of his important ideas, one is functionalism, and that is super paraphrasing, that we mentally and socially evolve similarly to the way that we've biologically done so, right? So, higher mental processes serve us in an adaptive way.
Mm-hmm.
As we evolve as a species, our social skills and higher mental activities kind of evolve with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which
That
was
makes-
not the thought process before him, which is fucking
That's
insane.
But
Crazy.
it's
That's
very
wild to think
obvious.
about that.
Yeah.
Nobody thought about that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his approach to the nature of mind, which we've been talking about basically this whole time, like mind body, where's what is the mind versus the brain,
Right.
blah blah blah. To sum up his a little too much, but we don't have time, honestly, to go into it. He felt that psychologists should lay aside the whole mind-body question. Psychology was in no way ready or able to spell out the connections between physiological states and mental states. He just knew that we weren't there yet.
Yeah.
We didn't have the science. We don't have the technology.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to like
Straight up.
realize the fact that we are not there yet mentally and or technologically is a kind of intellectual advancement in and of itself.
Yeah. To know not, you need to know not.
You just made my brain hurt.
For 2 weeks in a row, why do I do this?
To know is to know that
So
you
you
know
meant
nothing at
like
all.
he was like combining like Cheez-Its and football, and he liked Cheez-Its better.
No.
To know anything is to know you know nothing at all.
Yes, of course.
Yes, that type of shit. is what I
But there's
meant
so many
by
different
that.
types of Cheez-Its. I don't know them at all either.
I mean,
Like so many different types of Cheez-Its.
Oh God.
yeah, man.
All right.
Gay toast, great cheese.
Another one of his is the stream of thought or stream of consciousness, right? So here's a biggie. You guys pay
Let's
the
go.
fuck attention
I'm
for once.
dialed in. Let's go.
Using introspective analysis as the major approach to investigation, he asserted that the reality most immediately perceived by that method is the unbroken flow of complex thought, right? Here's a quote. Most books start with sensations as the simplest mental facts and proceed synthetically, constructing each higher stage from those below it. But this is abandoning the empirical method of investigation. No one ever had a simple sensation by itself. Consciousness, from our natal day, is of a teeming multiplicity of objects and relations. The only thing which psychology has a right to postulate at the outset of this fact of thinking is as of itself. The first fact for us, then, as a psychologist, is that thinking of some sort goes on. I use the word thinking for every form of consciousness indiscriminately. If we could say in English, it thinks, as we say it rains or it blows, we should be stating the fact most simply and with a minimum of assumption. As we cannot, we must simply say that thought goes on. Smart fucking dude.
Yeah, right.
Smart fucking dude.
Right?
I was intrigued.
Like, it's all happening around us all the time, all at once.
Yeah.
360 degree
Yeah.
So happened.
constantly. You know
Right,
what I mean? There's
100%.
no such thing as just one stimuli. There's
No,
no
no,
such
no.
thing as just one thought.
No.
It all flows together. It's
It's all
all
about what you dial
constantly
into.
happening,
You
right?
know what I mean?
It's fucking insane.
Mhm.
And it's so fucking cool that, you know, he's the one, like, seriously, was like the first guy to put it.
He was the most
To
modern
end the
protagonist
It's like,
towards
it's like, hey,
the thought
this shit's
process
always
of,
happening.
like,
Yeah.
hey, we are one.
Right.
Yeah.
So he considered
kind of a deal.
consciousness not to be a thing, but a process or a
Mhm.
function, like breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's all interconnected. This concept of stream of consciousness got scooped up real quick by psychologists and authors alike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, stream of
course.
consciousness writing,
Of
come on.
course,
Yeah,
You know.
I've produced some weird stream of consciousness writing, but it's also been it's also been like I say it weird and laughy haha, but it's also been very like eye opening. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
awakening to
you're
the
like-
soul.
You're like, oh shit! Like I wasn't like
This was in here.
actively
I wasn't over that.
thinking about this, and
Yeah.
my hand just kind of did the modeling to this building.
Right.
you
Which
know?
goes to show that it's always
crazy.
there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Whether
for
you
sure.
think about it
If you don't
actively
get
or
it
not,
out,
it's
if you don't
still there.
actually get it out,
Human
it's
body's
always
a hell
gonna
of a
be in there.
drug.
Yeah. I tell you what.
The self, that's another big one. James felt that the belief in a distinct principle of selfhood was an integral part of the common sense of mankind, and found a way to restore to psychology a meaningful and researchable concept of self, with his notion of the empirical self, which consists of several components: the material self, which is our stuff and family; the social self, who we are and how we behave in public, essentially;
Mhm.
and the spiritual self, anything observable with introspection.
So the whole like Kim dynasty.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I was
Like seriously,
Hail Mary, but yeah.
lines up that way.
Yeah, it does. Right. So like the spiritual self, like who we be deep down. You feel me?
Who we be beat?
Who we
Did you
be
did
beat?
you just try to get my vernacular?
I did, yeah. Did I do it?
Who we be deep down? You feel me?
You feel
Is
me?
that you?
You
See how it's typed out. I'm looking at it. Like, they just trying to get my vernacular off me. See, I'm here for the content. You feel me?
His concept of will or free will is one aspect
Or
of it.
Tom or
that-
John.
Yeah. mhm.
Yeah.
Some commentators say that James's most valuable contribution to psychology was his theory of the will, the conscious process that directs voluntary movements. It's still a debate. I remember a couple of years ago I read a really cool article on us still trying to figure out whether or not free will actually exists, you know? And there's
No, yeah,
a modern group of dudes that think that no, free will is not a thing, which is
well,
fucking nuts.
I mean, there
That's
was a
crazy.
movie, I don't know, 96. It's called Free Willy. So I'm pretty sure it's still there.
Okay, moving on. A quote from him on that. We desire to feel, to
That was good
have,
shit.
to do. All sorts of things which at the moment are not felt, had, or done. If with the desire there goes a sense that attainment is not possible, we simply wish. But if we believe at the end that the end is in our power, we will that the desired feeling, having, or doing shall be real. And real it presently becomes, either immediately upon the willing or after certain preliminaries have been fulfilled.
So say it and it shall be true, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mhm.
Or that, like, I don't know.
The secret.
Yeah. I was actually about
Yeah,
to,
the secret.
yeah, that
Yeah.
that bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I can do this. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it a lot
Well,
every
I mean,
day, and then it just happens.
Honestly, it's a
Secret of life.
But in a way, that's actually kind
it's
of...
a
It's real,
it's
bro.
a,
It's
it's a,
real.
a shot in the dark to a lot of what I grew up with, which was, you know, speak these words, you'll speak them into existence, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And honestly, on a few cases, I've seen some really weird shit like come to fruition out of like people speaking truths into their own existence and it actually happening
That's
instead
real,
of.
bro.
But
I've seen it
that's
in my own life, bro.
That's also
real.
part of where you put yourself.
Yeah.
Where
I mean,
you
if you're
put
not
your
in position to
psyche.
do it, or you don't put the work in
Right.
into which you're trying to profess to the universe, then it's not going to matter any fucking
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
You can't
It's
just
like
say it.
it's like
You got to be it.
dear Lord Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, I want $1 million, and you wake up the next day and you have $1 million. That's
That's
not
not
gonna
how it
happen.
goes. No,
No,
it
it's
takes a
not.
lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of late
But if
nights,
you
a lot
say
of early
I am
mornings.
going to make $1
I
million,
am going to make $1 million.
There's a lot better
Yeah.
chance that that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know?
exactly.
Exactly.
Because you're going to spend every day trying to do that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You put yourself in that mindset.
Your,
yeah.
your psyche, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up over there now.
Yeah, your psyche. Yeah, that jewel almost took my temple out.
So there's a whole bunch left for me to talk about with him. But like his take on the unconscious and ethics. And then there's a lot of really cool paradoxes that he finds and points out with our understanding of the human condition. And I personally think I'm going to take a deeper look into his thoughts.
Mhm.
But we don't have time today.
But y'all were like
Wow.
brothers. and
That was nice. They're kindred spirits. But I like the nice cliffhanger.
I don't know about the
I like that.
spirits
yeah.
thing.
Super sweet cliffhanger that he just
Right.
did for the listeners.
But no,
That's-
for real, if anybody else is interested in the guy, I'm personally going to start with his masterwork, as it's known, The Principles of Psychology by William James. And that's it.
Yeah.
For today. That's it for the week. Bye.
Oh, all right. You're done.
So Grant's out.
He's out. He's done.
I didn't feel like getting up. Never mind.
I really got to pee, so we should wrap this up.
Yeah. It's getting to that point. I've been drinking the whole time too. So yeah, guys, that's episode 4 of the History of Psychology. Soon we're gonna cover Freud, and we're gonna finish up all this history, and then dive into some really cool shit. But next week we have our Deep South correspondent, the homies, gonna slide up for an episode. We're gonna do some topical subjects.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit happening right now in politics. I don't even want to talk about it right now. But anyway, there's a lot of things happening in the world. We're going to rap about that next week. And then after that, we're going to dive deeper into modern psychology and then, psychology of this, that, and third. But I'm Justin Hammond, and I'm saying love, live life because it's worth living, y'all.
And I've kind of pulled myself back from this, but I'm going to pull myself strongly towards this statement. Be kind. It fucking matters.
Facts.
Stay informed,
Uh-huh.
which is the second notion of, the second step of being kind,
Bang.
and make a difference. So
Bang.
if you be kind and you stay informed,
You
then
will.
whether you mean it or not, you will make a difference.
We'll turn up. Hey, it's these facts. These facts. Let's go.
I'm
He's
just
very
saying.
good.
My guy out here.
He's good over
He's
there.
doing it.
I like it.
He's doing
I got to fart.
it. Just don't do it right now. Just wait like 10 more seconds.
I ruined it.
Maybe 15. It's not fucking silly.
Well, I'm Grant Bramlett.
That's nice.
Hey, I need you to speed up. Do
Oh,
you think?
I'm done.
Okay.
No, he's done.
Well, all right. He never liked y'all. He always loved y'all.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what he should be saying.
And I got a toot, so we got to get out of here.
Yeah. Anyway, tune in next week. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you live stream, we live stream every Monday, 7:30, Twitch, Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, all the shit. We do live videos. Thank y'all for tuning in. Shouts out to Mama Beth. She's out here with it. Shouts out to everybody that listens and supports out in Ireland and Dutchland and fucking
And shouts
Netherlands
into all the people
Germany
who
and
actually shout
America
into us.
and
instead of-
everybody
yeah.
that emails us. Thank y'all for the emails. Keep emailing us. We love y'all. Keep tuning in. It's popping off. We out here. This is a podcast called Friends, Facts, and Fiction, and we out.